MacBook Airs. This is the 2017 version and this is the late 2020 version. So I'm going to walk you through some of the features of both laptops so you can better understand which one is perfect for you. So first of all, this is obviously silver and this is actually mine, whereas this one is gold, the gold version, and this is my sister's. She recently bought it a couple of months ago. So the silver version, so the 2017 version, features a 1.GHz dual-core Intel Core i5 processor, which is basically a solid choice for anyone who needs a reliable laptop for everyday tasks like browsing the internet, for instance, checking the emails, creating documents, stuff like that. So first I'm going to show you the display. It features a 13.3 inches display and 8GB of RAM and 128GB of state drive. And I would say that one of the perks of this laptop is obviously its affordability, so it's relatively more affordable than other different Apple laptops in the market. On the other hand, we've got the MacBook Air with Apple's M1 chip, which is a game changer in terms of performance. My sister absolutely loves it. It features a 13.3-inch display and 8GB of memory as the Intel Core i5 version, but it has a 250GB solid-state drive. It also features the M1 chip, which is a powerful processor that delivers faster performance and longer battery life as well. So, for instance, my sister uses this for up to 2 days without any problems at all. Whereas this MacBook right here, I can only go for a day and that's it. But overall, I would say, guys, that if you are a casual user who needs a laptop for everyday tasks, I would say this one probably is the perfect choice for you because it's affordable, it's reliable, and it can handle basic tasks with ease. However, if you need a laptop with more power and better performance, say like for editing videos, content creators and stuff like that, then I would recommend this one right here, the MacBook Air with the M1 chip, which is definitely worth the investment in my opinion. It delivers faster speeds and longer battery life as well, so which makes it ideal for power users basically. Hopefully it was useful, and thanks guys for watching.
Hey guys, it's Luke here. In this short video, we're going to take a look at the MacBook Air M1. So this is not the current generation, this is the version just before the one that's just been released. However, I think for a lot of people, this is actually the perfect machine to pick up. So I'm going to do a quick walkthrough and show you around the machine. So you can see on the left hand side, we get a dual USB Type-C connection. Now, either of these can be used for charging the machine, or if you want, you can connect an external display. Personally, I use this one here to run a single USB Type-C cable via Thunderbolt to an external monitor, and that charges the device and also does external display and all of your audio at the same time. On the other side, we get the single headphone jack, and that's basically it. So not a lot of ports on the M1 MacBook Air, but after using it basically every single day for the last 2 years, I've never really needed to have anything additional plugged in. Occasionally I'll plug in a Type-C hard drive, and that's kind of really about it. Everything else you can download or do AirDrop, and that's been more than enough. Looking around the rest of the computer, you can see it's obviously extremely thin. The MacBook Air in this wedge shape is really, really nice. We have the lip here at the front. We have some rubber feet on the bottom to stop the device from moving around. And that's pretty much all there is to see on the machine itself. This is the MacBook Air from 2020, and the current generation has a more squared off design, but personally I still really like this one, and I think it looks very modern and very sleek. Okay, so let's talk about what the M1 machine is actually like to use day to day. So really, for a lot of people, battery life is kind of the key thing that they're looking for when they pick up a new computer. They want to be able to use the computer on the way to work. They want to be able to work at their desk without having to have the charger plugged in all the time. You know, people are on trains, they're flying. Having battery life has become very essential to computing, and really this is a huge standout on the M1 MacBook Air because the battery life on this machine is amazing. I actually don't know how Apple has done it, but the M1 chip has brought a lot of efficiency to the M1 range of computers. This machine here, I don't do a lot of heavy computing on this, but it will easily last me between 2 and 3 days most of the time. So for me personally, I do a lot of work in Google Docs, so you know, typing up different things to clients and planning, and I do a lot of digital marketing work, and it's perfect. Probably the only thing that really kind of taxes the battery life for me is when I do some 4K video editing, and we'll talk about that shortly. But battery life is really, really stellar. It is a huge standout. As I mentioned, it charges via the USB Type-C connection. In the box, you will get a 30-watt USB Type-C charger, and that's more than efficient to run this machine and to charge it quickly. Probably you can use a larger charger, but in all honesty, I typically just plug it in at night and then unplug it in the morning and then use it for the full day with no issues or worries about battery life. Okay, so let's talk about the display. So the display on the M1 MacBook Air is the Retina display. Now this display is very, very nice. You would only typically get the Retina display if you picked up a more premium MacBook, but on the M1 machine, Apple decided to include that, and I'm so glad they did because it really is a beautiful display. It's rich, it's detailed, it's great on all kinds of viewing angles. It's great to read text off. It's great for watching content. There really is no complaints at all about the Retina display. It has a lot of smart functionality built in. It will auto dim in low brightness. It can go quite bright and can also go quite dull. So if you're working beside your partner while they're trying to get to sleep, you can dull it right down so you won't annoy them. So this display has 60 Hertz, which is kind of the standard for most computers. A lot of modern computers, even from Apple, have 120 Hertz, but I'm totally happy with 60 Hertz, and it's perfect for doing day-to-day work on. And really, that kind of just provides more efficiency to this computer in general. So guys, up the top of the display is where you'll find the webcam, and the webcam on this machine is 720p. If you're in Zoom calls or you're doing like Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, it is more than adequate to have a really good conference call. The image is sharp. It's not a 1080p image, but it is still very, very good. It's crystal clear. There's no issues with like blurred images or anything like that. I have absolutely zero complaints with the webcam, and coupled with the microphones that is built into the M1 MacBook Air, it is a very good combination. I actually think the microphones built into the M1 MacBook Air and the M1 MacBook Pro, which I also own, are the absolute gold standard for inbuilt microphones on any computer. And the reason I say that is when Apple released these new M1 machines, they built in what's called a 3-mic array. And basically what that means is you almost get like studio quality audio from these computers. The first time I did a recording, I think I did a short podcast episode, and I just used the standard inbuilt microphones on these M1 machines. I was totally blown away at the clarity that I could get from just the laptop. So in the past, I would typically plug in a microphone via the USB-C connection, like a Rode or an Audio-Technica microphone, to improve the audio quality on Zoom calls and meetings with work colleagues and clients and stuff like that. But the mics on these are so good, and they do such a good job at picking up just your voice. I don't even worry about plugging a microphone anymore because they are just that good. So let's talk a little bit about the keyboard and also the trackpad. So the keyboard, in my opinion, is probably the best I've ever used on any computer. So I've been using Apple computers for a long time, and the keyboards have always been good. Apple did take a little bit of a step backwards when they had some butterfly keyboards that had a very low travel, but they kind of rectified that issue when they released the M1 machines. The key travel is very good. The response is very good. I can type super quickly on this because the keys are perfectly spaced out. On this machine, you don't have the touch bar. So personally, I'm not really a huge fan of the touch bar. You actually have physical keys for increasing the brightness, for the microphone, for going into Do Not Disturb, and for changing songs and increasing volume. And we also have, over on the far right-hand side, the Touch ID for logging into your computer and also for making payments through Apple Pay and stuff like that. It is super quick, it works really well, and it also doubles as the power button on this particular machine. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the keyboard on this machine and also the MacBook M1 Pro. They're just so good to type on. I can touch type at incredible speeds, and once you've got a bit of muscle memory, you'll find it to be a very, very comfortable machine to work from. Occasionally, I might accidentally hit the wrong arrow key, but that just takes a little bit of getting used to. So with the trackpad, Apple really builds a lot of smarts into their trackpad. You have things like gestures, you've got two-finger click, you've got scrolls. There's a lot you can do with the Apple trackpad. If you've never used a MacBook before, the gestures on Apple's machines really are game-changing, and there's just so much you can do, like moving between screens, scrolling up, like doing an up motion with all your fingers to see all the apps you've got open. The trackpad on this is exceptional. It's not an actual piece of technology that moves. There's a haptic engine underneath it that when you click, it gives you feedback like a real click on a trackpad. But it is a little tiny bit smaller than what you'll get on the MacBook Pro. But still, for a computer of this size, 13-inch, it's perfect. I think Apple knows how to make a fantastic trackpad, and I thoroughly enjoy using the keyboard and the trackpad on this machine every single day. Okay guys, let's talk about the inbuilt speakers. So on either side of the keyboard we have a speaker grill here, and I have to say that after using the M1 MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, the speakers on the Air are almost as good, maybe in some circumstances a little bit better. They're super clear, super crisp, they've got a good amount of bass, they're perfect for listening to music, perfect for Zoom calls, for day-to-day tasks, and they go really loud. And if you're working from home and you want a pair of speakers that's going to project really good audio quality, I'm very impressed with the speaker quality on these MacBook Airs. So what I thought I'd do, I'll just quickly play some audio. This is just some royalty-free music, just so you can see the clarity that comes from this machine. Alright guys, now it's time to talk about the star of the show, which is the M1 chip built into these new computers. So if you don't know, Apple previously used to use Intel, and they were great, they did a really good job, but Apple really wanted to improve the efficiency and the power in their machines, so they moved to their own silicon and made their own chips, and the M1 is the first version of that. So they are very, very efficient, they're very powerful. This particular machine is the base model, which comes with 8 gig of RAM, and that's kind of shared between the GPU, the graphics side of the machine, and it is truly impressive how well this machine copes, considering it doesn't have a fan. And I'm doing all kinds of different things like video editing, working in Google Docs, I've got music open, I'm taking Zoom calls, and it never has any slowdown whatsoever. It is very, very impressive what they've been able to do with the M1 chip. Personally, I opted for the base model because I don't really do a lot of super intensive work. Probably the most intensive thing I do is just some video editing for these product reviews, and even that, it does so well, like the render times and all of the typical things that you need a fast computer to do, it will do it with ease. So the only thing I would say on that point is if you do a lot of data crunching, like if you work with really complex spreadsheets or software that needs to have a lot of data in the RAM, I'd probably recommend that you look at the 16 gig model. But for 95% of other people, the base model, which is 8 gig of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, is totally fine. You'll have no issues with slowdown or anything like that. So it really is a great combination with the M1 chip. Okay, so let's talk about the last thing, which is software. So obviously this machine came out 2 years ago. It is getting updates regularly. It'll be able to get all of the upcoming updates in the next few months. And basically Mac OS is completely free to update. So if you've never owned a MacBook before and you worry about updating, it is so simple to do, and Apple continues to push out updates. And really, I imagine this machine will continue to get updates for probably the next 5 years or so, which means you're kind of buying a future-proofed machine here. With a lot of Windows computers, you know, the swap between Windows 10 and Windows 11 meant a lot of computers were obsolete now, and Apple just doesn't do that. Their ecosystem is designed so that you get the newest features on even older devices, which means, you know, if you went for the M1 machine over the M2, you're still going to have the exact same software experience on this particular machine. So all in all, guys, I am so happy with this computer. It has just been such a fantastic experience. I really have nothing to complain about. I think it looks really stylish. This is the gold color, and in the right light, it just looks truly awesome. I get a lot of comments from people when I'm working in cafes, and a lot of eyeballs on this machine because it's just so slick and so thin and so light, and just a very powerful machine for modern computing. So I hope you enjoyed that short review, guys, and again, this is one of my all-time favorite computers, and I'm just truly impressed with what Apple has been able to do with the M1 chip. Alright guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!